All right, so this is my guy Drew. This actually picture is from later on, but I wanted to kind of preface Drew. Drew was my roommate in the whole entire time, uh, but what an amazing guy. Drew lives in Philly. Well, he's a shop teacher for a lot of years, retired as a shop teacher. Was not really satisfied with just building furniture for people, and he said God has to take these skills from me being shop and use them for something else. Right when this trip came up, he actually had the vision that he was going to create a whole bunch of little wooden cars for the kids there, and he ended up bringing over 800 guys. That's two suitcases full of wooden cars and 3D printed plastic rattles to be able to give away. You want to talk about walking in what the spirit tells you and shows you to do. The coolest part about them is on the bottom of each of these cars had Jesus loves you. So while the kids are actually playing with the cars, they're actually getting reminded that Jesus loves them as they're playing with it, and being able to see him, see his the vision that God gave him come to fruition. This is him sitting in the middle after we had handed out all the cars to all the different kids. He said something that, and I'm trying not to get emotional because he said, I'm so blessed that God chose me.
And now, a few minutes with two of my friends who will soon be yours, the techie and the cowboy.
All right, so this is my guy Drew. This actually picture is from later on, but I wanted to kind of preface Drew. Drew was my roommate in the whole entire time, uh, but what an amazing guy. Lives in Philly. Well, he's a shop teacher for a lot of years, retired as a shop teacher. Was not really satisfied with just building furniture for people, and he said God has to take these skills from me being shop and use them for something else, right? And so he was asking God, what can I do with my skills to be able to further you? And he had a dream. And we're going to have Drew on, for the future episode. You'll hear his full story. But he had a dream that he was flying. And then he flew up to the top of a hill. And at the top of the hill, there was a projector. And on the projector, there was a little boy surrounded by a whole bunch of wooden toys. And that's where he got the vision that he was going to create these wooden toys and that he was going to give them away to people in need, but still had no details on it. So when this trip came up, he actually had the vision that he was going to create a whole bunch of little wooden cars for the kids there, and he ended up bringing over 800 guys. That's two suitcases full of wooden cars and 3D printed plastic rattles to be able to give away. You want to talk about walking in what the spirit tells you and shows you to do. The coolest part about them is on the bottom of each of these cars had Jesus loves you. So while the kids are actually playing with the cars, they're actually getting reminded that Jesus loves them as they're playing with it, and being able to see him, see the vision that God gave him come to fruition. This is him sitting in the middle after we had handed out all the cars to all the different kids. He said something that, and I'm trying not to get emotional because he said, I'm so blessed that God chose me to be able to do this. And this is my mission in life. So he actually started a nonprofit, and now his nonprofit, and we'll put the link, inside of the bios or inside of the comments as well, where you go see more about his nonprofit. But his nonprofit is building these little wooden cars and the 3D printed randals for kids all across the world. And Gulu was just where he wanted to start with that. So being able to see him surrounded by the kids and to see them, they started chanting Uncle Drew, Uncle Drew. So for the rest of the time, he was Uncle Drew to us, and we got to chat with him, Uncle Drew. So that was the first time we got to see it, and then seeing all these beautiful babies. It's all about the kids. You'll see lots of pictures of the kids. My wife's director of children ministry, and I grew up with the mom as a teacher, so kids are my heart, and I love volunteer with kids. So seeing all these innocent, beautiful babies, and some of these, this was the first time they've ever had a toy in their life. Some of their toys were water bottles, and they had turned the caps into wheels, and that's the only toy that they really had. So for them to see and be in awe of these beautiful little wooden cars that Drew made for him, that was one of you asked one of the highlights of my trip was TW. That was one of the highlights of my trip was being able to see Drew live out with the vision that God had given him, and seeing all these little baby boys and girls play with their cars. So this is Monica. This is her doing triage. I can't remember his name. I wish I could remember his name. This is one of the local doctors who was with us the whole entire trip. So they would actually do the triage, do the blood pressure, her and Shelly. would actually do, get all the information, get some basic information from them, write it down, and then the doctor would actually prescribe medication to them right there on the spot. This group, World Embrace, actually comes to these with different doctors and different groups from around the world, different churches that come to visit, and they do this for them. They stayed there all day doing triage and doing prescriptions for these people. I shout out to both Monica and the Shelly because they didn't get to experience all the stuff that we got on the trip because they were doing this the entire time. Literally hundreds and hundreds of people waiting in line the whole entire day. And when we left, because we left to go on to other things, they stayed behind because they were not willing to be able to let these people go without getting the medicine that they needed. So shout out to the medical team because they just did an amazing job and they were so patient. And it was amazing to be able to experience them showing the love of God in that way. So really, really cool with that. At the end of the day, we tried to help them out because the first day it was chaos by organizing the medicine in alphabetical order. So here's the team all rallying together, organizing all of the different medications and medicines. A lot of stuff like ringworm, heartworm. There's a lot of malaria, a lot of different toxins that were in their water. So they were diagnosing that. Just different stuff that we just go to the pharmacy and get over the counter. These guys don't have access to. And a lot of stuff that they don't have the doctors so they can go get a prescription that we take for granted. This is the one time that they're able to do that. So he was giving them as far out as he can, and this was all free of charge. This was all free service that was provided thanks to all the sponsors and all the people that support World Embrace. They're able to do this for the people. I mean, just amazing, amazing ability to do it. Again, kids were the key thing. They go in and like once every week or every couple weeks, and they do what we would consider kind of like a VBS or a camp for the kids. So they had interactive Bible lessons. They had songs that they sang with the kids, and we got to be a part of that. It was just so much fun being able to celebrate this past carry up. That was also one of the highlights of the trip. Was interacting with these beautiful babies and these beautiful kids that were so innocent and so curious about who it is that we were. And then seeing them play like a little man who's had his car here in the dirt, seeing them play with the cars and get so much joy from that was absolutely amazing. Having a lot, just a standard blow pop sucker was a huge deal to them. So being able to hand those out to them, there's me handing out stuff to them. There's Alexandria, one of the volunteers that was there long term, longer than we were, who works with them as well. So that's her leading. They made these different friendship bracelets. They had different colors on them to show them the different parts of Christ. This little man followed me around everywhere, so I had to turn around and take a picture of him. He's absolutely cute. A lot of the kids, they actually sit next to their moms while it is that they're smashing gravel all day because they can't afford to put them in school. So these babies grow up inside of this rock pit. I remember I saw a little man, he had a piece of banana or something, dropped it in the gravel, and then went back to eating it. And I'm thinking of the dust and all the stuff that they're ingesting can't be good for them. So Kathy coming in here, she's done a lot for the health and wellness of the women inside the rock quarry. So for her to be able to come in there and teach them about all different types of things, health, their value. She has women's conferences there. Again, we were just a small portion of that. That was just awesome. There's Craig giving out cars to the kids. He actually walked around and made sure all the kids had cars that didn't come over to be able to get them as part of the group. This little man was the cutest as well. He had made a little roadway off of a rock for his car, and he was just playing away with his car. Man. He was having a blast playing with his car. So I had to get a picture of him. He loved his car. So again, seeing Drew. All right. So how the rock quarry works, because this was a mind blowing to me. Rock quarry is like a big deep pit. At the bottom, they have this different granite that's down there. The path to get down to the rock quarry is so steep. I was questioning whether I wanted to go down there. I was like, if I go down, it's like a bowling ball. I'm going to take out all these people that are walking down because it's so steep. And these ladies are carrying granite up these things and they're passing us like we're standing still. But this is looking down into the rock quarry. It's been around since the 80s. That shows you a little bit more of how this is Dave and I contemplating how we're going to get down this. And these guys are barefoot doing it, and we're in like hiking shoes and barely able to get up and down this rock quarry. It was just extremely steep and dangerous to get up there. And again, they're carrying it. So, anyways, here's down at the bottom of the rock quarry. What they do is they actually heat the granite. So these logs are actually on fire. So they actually have fire underneath them, and they have to do that for a couple of weeks to be able to soften it. And then once it is that they soften the rocks, then they have these guys. This is teenage guy. I had a picture of him actually hammer and break up the granite. Here's the cute thing: these ladies that are up at the top, they have to pay for these guys to break up the granite for them. They rent their booth. I call it a booth for lack of better words, where they're actually doing
Young
it.
back.
They have to pay for these guys to be able to do it. They have to go down into the rock
It goes
quarry.
up on the scale. You hear that?
They sit
As it
there
goes
while
over.
these guys are doing it. After is they break it up, they put it into piles, and they mark the piles with the person's names. You can actually see the lady's names engraved or whose
As
pile
it
it
goes
is.
further in, it
It's
goes
their
up on
job. And this lady's taking two. There was a lady that had three. I picked up one of these. These are not light. They take it up to their pile and then they break it. And they do all of this for about $3 to $4 a day. Yes, to be able to survive for their family. A lot of them are widowed. A lot of them had men who have left them, who have left because they were endangered. So this is what it is that they do to provide for their family, either to put their kids in school or to be able to just pay for the family to eat. But there's not a lot of profit margin if you think of having to pay for your spot, pay for these guys to break up the stuff, and then if you're not able enough, you see they're doing this without any shoes. If you don't have if you're not fit enough, or if you have a disability, you have to pay somebody to bring it up to the top for you as well and put it inside of your pile. What do we have to complain about? Like, people complain about working in fast food, or people complain about construction jobs. I get it because that's your situation. But when you see what these women are willing to do to provide for their family, it's very humbling, because this is real labor. And we're in the it was hot. It's very hot. And we're right next to the equator. And so this is you talk about at the peak heat when they're at the peak summer, you're talking about 100, 105 plus, but straight heat. We're so close to the equator, the UV's rays is what is that bakes you. It's like microwaving you, right? So I was just so impressed by their spirit. They were in such good graces. They were so welcoming and humbling, and even though they didn't want to be in this situation, their attitude is what really moved me about this group and what it is that they did. That's the pile that they make. That's what it looks like after it is that they break it into it. And they sell it by the can, and they get 50 cents to $1 per can, and maybe they'll get 4 or 5 cans per day. So that's where I said they, get maybe $3, $4 per day. And not complaining. They're just doing their job and doing their work. Very humbling, right? So that was the rock quarry. And the fact that they're going in there, they're doing children's ministry there, they're ministering to women, they're bringing in medical to these women who would have otherwise been forgotten. Big shout out to World Embrace for doing that, and big shout out for allowing us to be a part of that and being able to experience that. So then we went to a village where they got to teach us village life. This is the kids.
Did he take the bus? Or is he coming?
The kids that were coming into the village. I was actually
They come.
the vehicle ahead of the bus.
We are happy to see you today. Sit down and listen to us. Sunday school are singing for you. Welcome our dear officer. We are happy to see you today. Sit down and listen.
I said this before when I went to Liberia. The further that we went into what we call the bush, where they would have, well, here in the US we call nothing, the happier the people were. And the reason why is because they don't have all the stuff to distract us. Half of the problem that we have here in the US is that we're either trying to get more stuff or we're trying to keep the stuff that we have. So a lot of the stuff that we have, we're trying to get a new car, get a better car, keep the car, get a new house, get a bigger house. Then we got to have work to be able to keep the mortgage to keep the house. Then we have Amazon and all the shopping things. It's funny because the polar opposites is whenever I got back, I'm watching on this TikTok girl's talking about how she bought all this stuff off of Temu or one of those different places that is. And she had all these boxes piled up. She's like, I didn't need any of this stuff, but it was $1 to $2, so I had to buy it, right? And I'm looking at these people who are fighting for that same couple of dollars to feed their family, and you could tell that this lady was not satisfied with what she had, and these people are satisfied just being able to be with family, community, and have their faith because there's nothing else to distract them. That was one of the biggest things out of my 2 trips to Africa that I got is that it's not about the stuff. Happiness is not about what you have. Happiness is when you truly connect with God, when you truly connect with your family, when you truly connect with community. It's about connection among people and loving other people. And these communities love each other at a level that it's hard for us to achieve because we're so distracted by stuff, right? So this is them welcoming us being off the bus. It was really cool because little things like high fives mean a lot to the little kids. So I made sure I gave high fives. And then they were disappointed if I missed them, so I tried to make sure I got everybody. But being able to interact with the kids, give high five. It brought me so much joy being around these kids and their interaction. And you can see their smile, like little kid thought I forgot him, and when I gave him a high five, they were trying to figure out who I was. Who is this bald-headed American guy that looks like him that sounds different than that? So it's so much fun being able to interact with them. Here's Drew giving out his cards to the next group. Each place that we stopped. So he gave out some at the rock quarry. He gave out some at this village. He gave out some at the next village that I'll show you that we went to. We made friendship bracelets with them, which was absolutely amazing. This little guy was my favorite clip of the time because he's looking at me like I don't know you. I tried to give him a car. He was like, he wants the car. He's like, bro, I don't know who you are. I don't know you. And then he went to go take the car. His mom tried to give the car. He's like, no, bro, I don't know you. Right? So that was my favorite video clips. He did end up taking the car, so I took a picture with them, right? But just cute. I mean, just cute in all their innocence, right? This guy right here is Abraham. He's actually the pastor of the village, but also the head of the village. He took care of us the whole entire time. I asked Abraham, I said, how is it that by the way, this big tree that we're sitting under, that's where they have their church, their worship. There's no building, there's no walls, right? He grew their church from 20 people to 50 people to, he said, 100 to 150 people come out to worship underneath this tree. And I said, how are you growing the church? I wanted to know, how are you growing the church? What are you doing? He said, we go hut to hut, we knock, we pray for them where they're at, and then we testify to them and preach the gospel to them there. And then we invite them to church. Simple enough. No social media, no getting out there, handing out flyers, no big advertisement, showing the love of Christ, going out and gathering people. Isn't that what Jesus did with the disciples, right? So again, it was a lot of reminders of humbling and getting myself back to the core of what it is that God calls us to do. Super excited for Abraham, who toured us around the village. He showed us how it is that they make mud huts, which was pretty cool. So some of our team members got a chance to actually take the huts. So they actually use the mud as the mortar between the bricks. And then after it is that they stack the bricks and put the mud in between it, then they actually smear mud on the outside of it as a way to be able to create insulation for the huts. So they got to be a part of that portion of it. How they make the bricks is they actually bake them. So they make these different piles of bricks. They this hole down here at the bottom, they put fire inside of it and they bake them for a couple weeks. They cover them with mud to protect them. And when they're ready to use them, they bring the bricks out and they build huts, right? And the whole community comes together to be able to actually build these different huts. So they allowed us to be able to be a part of seeing how a hut is built and being a part of that process. Them allowing us into their community and welcoming us into their community and taking us through a day in the life of how it is to be able to do community. It was mind blowing because they were so excited to be able to show us their lifestyle, right? And that was it. That's what a hut looks like before they put the top on. After they finished it, they use a different color mud to be able to create the black on the outside. So after they put the first layer on, then they put another layer of darker mud that's actually forms to be more hard, and then they use a form of grass or straw to be able to make the roofs. So pretty cool, and that's what it looks like whenever it's done, when they're finished with making the huts. And then they'll even put like a little stylized border and design on it. It's just amazing how it is. This one actually had a little solar panel with the wire going inside so they could charge their phone. Most of this place, no running water, no electricity in these places. People were happy as could be. People, because they don't know what it is. If you were to tell them that they're poor in comparison to what? In comparison to us, we say third world and poor. Yes, we need to go in and help them with food, but they were as much of a testimony for us when it came to, I thought we were going to be going in and helping to be able to convert people and preaching the gospel to us. I got as much from them as is that I could give. I mean, I felt like they were blessing us with the whole entire experience. We also got a chance to be able to go down to the well and fetch water. And so for them to allow us to be able to do that was absolutely amazing. They have these looks like gas cans where we actually went down, and it's not a short trip to get to where the water is. We actually got to go down and actually fetch water from the well. They dig what they call boreholes, and they actually create a well that's open to the public. It's constantly flowing, and you get your water out of there. We couldn't drink the water because of the parasites in the water, so we had to do bottled water the whole entire time. But you want to talk about an humbling experience being able to carry. Look, I consider myself a pretty decently swole guy. Our young guy Todd considers himself he's an athlete. He just graduated from college and played at ball. So we thought, ah man, we got this. We're gonna grab a couple of these jugs of water. I don't know what kind of water they had, but it was heavier than any water I ever remember carrying in 5 gallon jugs. And these ladies are flying past us. We got humbled. Our manhood got humbled a couple of times throughout the whole entire trip. That was one of them. Whenever these ladies are going past us barefoot, carrying this water like it's nothing, and we're struggling to be able to carry this water from the water well. So it was an awesome experience being able to do that and be a part of that. They also taught us how it is that they did their different stuff. So here, this lady is actually making peanut butter. So she's actually showing us how it is that they actually roast the different cashews, and there's a certain type of peanut that they use together. And so they're showing us the process of that. Then they actually get on the grindstone and they actually grind it out, and it actually makes peanut butter, their version of peanut butter, which is pretty cool being able to see them do. Over here, they're making flour. So they show us that everything is done on the spot. There's no grocery store. They don't even really interact with the outside world. Everything they hunt and do inside of the village, self-sufficient, and they do it for each other. And it's mind blowing being able to be a part of it. So being able to live a day in the life of that. Then they told us that we were going to get to go spear hunting. We're guys. We're like, oh, spear hunting. Let's go. We got this, right? How hard can it be to throw a spear and hit something? You think javelins? I've thrown a javelin, a spear. Yeah, but we got humbled real quick. So this video was supposed to stay in-house. We said we were never going to release how badly we were at spear hunting. We are just going to tell people we got to go spear hunting. But I'm willing to take this embarrassment for you guys, right? So I made a little collage of us trying to be able to. So here's the thing: they made us start with mango. They want us to go. They didn't want us to go after arrows. So he was rolling the mango, and our job was to hit the mango with the spear, which sounds a lot easier. But he taught us how it is. You have to aim ahead of it, and it's all about timing. It's all about how you hold the spear. It's just like golf. It looks easy, but until you try to do it. So here is us attempting to hit the mango with the spear, which if it was up to us to be able to get the food for the village, everybody would have starved because it was a lot harder than we thought it was going to be doing that. Then they actually took us out in the bush. We were looking for bush rats, and we got to go travel through all of the different stuff. Here's me with my swag walking up, thinking that I got this to be able to hit the mango, and yeah, that wasn't even close. Luckily, I hear you laughing, TW. I got
even come close.
no, that was bad.
Oh, jeez.
Give me a gun, man. I don't, let me hunt with the gun. That's bad. The second time I did do better on the spear hunting, so I did get closer, but still did not hit. None of us hit the. There you go. See, I knocked it. I hit it, redirected off his path. But yeah, I did not. I'm not a spear hunter. It'll take a little bit more. There's Reynolds. He's the actual guy that lives in Uganda. Him and Pastor Mark came a little bit later, so they got their attempt at spear hunting. It was fun. It was, again, they were willing. I mean, they were like really showing us. And when we went out, they were really hunting, and they showed us what they have to do just to get their food. And I asked him, I was like, hey, do y'all go after bigger game than the bush rats? He's like, yeah, but you're not ready for that. I was like, no. And he said, sometimes we go after water buffalo. I was like, nah, I'd be the one that would throw it just enough to make the water buffalo mad and have them charge me. So I said, let's stick with melons and bush rats. We didn't see any bush rats, but at least we did it. Right. He said what they would do with, he was trying to be nice. He said what they would do with people who aren't as good as us is they have them line up. And then as the animal run by, all of them throw at the same time. So somebody has a chance of hitting it. I was like, thank you for being very gentle with your delivery of that that information. But yeah, so that was a.
That's it for this episode. Join us again next time for The Techie and the Cowboy. Hit us up on our website, thetechieandthecowboy.com. Let us know what y'all think.